Good evening, boys and girls. Fitness and health is something that I don't think I have talked about at all on this channel yet. So, today shall be a new day. But, yeah, lifting is something that I highly recommend teenagers to start doing, and I will explain why in a sec. But personally, it's made me who I am, or it's contributed to who I am today, because lifting is not all of my life, and I did transition into, boxing for now, a year and a half, and I'm taking that very seriously, training wise. So the lifting does have to, be a bit less, just because it compromises a bit of my training, but other than that, I still take my hat off to lifting. It's taught me a lot about myself. It's given me discipline, grit, and I can deal with hardships, which is something that a lot of young people struggle with, and it's becoming more and more of a struggle in today's day and age. Also, obesity levels in pretty much any Western country is kind of absurd. Like, America's like half fat, like half their population is fat, and or something like that. So it's close to that. And I live in Australia, and I think our obesity rates are like in the 40%, maybe even higher, which is extremely concerning. And there's also data and research on young people as well, kids, and also the kids of these obese people, unfortunately, are dealt with the unfortunate circumstances of potentially having worse genetics and having to potentially deal with future health problems because of their parents eating and just general habits. And yeah, it's just incredibly concerning, and it's growing. It's growing rapidly. Society nowadays is so soft. They can't deal with any discomfort. They always have to be in constant comfort. Waiting for the bus, for example, something as simple as that. Oh, let's just go on my phone the whole time and just scroll, scroll, scroll. People can't deal with boredom nowadays. It's so bad. Or like pornography is killing a lot of young men. What else? What else? What else? Drinking. In Australia, drinking culture is just bad. Young kids are getting blackout drunk. It's like what are you doing? Or on the other hand, people just have no social skills and can't go outside and are playing video games all the time, or on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram the whole day. It's like it's getting bad. So this is why I'm preaching this, because I want you as a viewer to move past that. Not be weak. Come out on top. Come out strong. Come out the winner, and not come out the loser. Come out the person who just can't work hard and is scared of hard times. But in this, what I'm gonna say about with lifting isn't gonna be the most flashy and the most exciting stuff, because it really doesn't have to be. A lot of people on the internet try and talk too much. They say too much. They go on a whole tangent about all these random things that don't really matter, and it kind of overwhelms a lot of young people who are trying to get into it, and it kind of discourages them. But what I'll say is, I'll try and make it quite simple. But for a start with lifting, it doesn't have to be super hard. Like, genuinely, people think that they need 30 exercises in their lifting workouts, and need to be in the gym for what, 3 hours, and I made that same mistake as well. And again, it's also part of the process of trial and error. But ultimately, and a good example of where to find good workouts and how to structure workouts is a guy called Mario Rios or his brother Martin Rios. They're really good when it comes to that field and creating your workouts. But your workouts just can be literally an hour to an hour and a half, max. Like, I wouldn't recommend going any more than that, as you're just kind of doing extra stuff for really no benefit. And people think that more is more, but sometimes less is more. It's the same kind of concept from this book that I read called 4 Hour Work Week, and it's the whole idea behind it is you're cutting out all the irrelevant stuff, so you're just dealt with kind of the stuff that you need, rather than the stuff that you think you need. So that same concept can apply to lifting. So yeah, don't make your workouts too complicated. Like realistically, you only need some compound lifts. I'm don't take like all this advice from me. I'm not a complete expert on this, but you want to have your compound lifts, your accessories, and all these lifts. I would personally recommend to stay away from machines and to do lifts that actually challenge you, in the sense that you're using your whole body. Some great exercises are like the deadlifts, the pull-ups, the farmer carries, all those kinds of things. Those kinds of exercises are great because you see in the fitness space all these bodybuilders using these machines and limiting and getting rid of all these limiting factors and stuff. Not realizing that it's kind of making them weaker. They're wearing all their straps and stuff. Like, your grip is so weak. It doesn't make your grip stronger, it just makes your grip weaker. So when you actually have to lift something heavy, you can't even hold on to it because you're so used to having hand wraps on, or you're so used to having a belt on that your back's weak. So try and stay away. If you're trying to look for other advice, try and stay away from bodybuilders like that. The two that I recommended are A class, S tier, as a mod generation would say. The other stuff is what else? You don't have to. You need You need rest days, and in particular, I would say 2, 3 rest days. When you're beginning, and then you might push it back to maybe like 2 rest days. But you need your rest. People undermine their rest, and they think that they need to be not sleeping as much, but that is a very big misconception. Sleep is the best tool for helping you build your muscle and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you incorporate good rest periods. And yeah, so with like lifting, it'll help you, build your muscle, help you get stronger. If you do a sport, some people think that lifting weights is bad for sports, but that's just utter nonsense. And it also, helps you in the long term as well. I've seen so many videos of people who were lifting all their life, and now when they're like old, they can still do everyday activities fine, whilst other old people are barely able to function. So yeah, it does have long term effects. You just don't need to overthink it too much. But lifting also builds your confidence, your self-esteem. And I personally have seen this myself as well. When you feel good, when you look good, you feel good. And I genuinely believe that it's like the same as getting a haircut when you're looking all fresh and stuff, and you know you think you're like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's the same kind of thing when you're lifting, once you see that progress going, you get the pump and all that kind of stuff. You feel good about yourself, and you can because a lot of people, again, search for that external validation, but when you have that internal validation, now this is gonna sound cringe, but you'll kind of like almost gain aura in a way. I won't go into like how, but it just kind of, I hope it makes sense, but it just, in my head, it makes sense. So do with that information as you wish. Also, when you have your regimented workout schedule, it creates discipline because you have to, stick by it to really get your results. And that can really, transition into other facets in your life, whether that be, having a business or just having a job or having other passions. It's a very good base to have, when you don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyway, that kind of thing. And then we go into, the long-term stuff. So, it creates habits that last into your adulthood. You're, gonna constantly be doing it. It just improves everything, and you can ultimately, and also personally, it's made me a lot more conscious in the sense of what I do with my time, rather than potentially play video games. Now I don't play video games at all, but when I used to like kind of play video games, it would kind of shift my mind off doing kind of some wasteful activities, and instead, do something a lot more productive and get a lot more output. Other stuff is, long-term wise, is that it sets you apart from everybody. In today's society, everybody is weak, so if you can even do one thing that, slowly, increases your status in the way of discipline, your looks, all that kind of stuff, it can really make a world of difference. It just takes time. People aren't persistent, but if you, the viewer, are persistent with it, work hard with it, and just have patience, it will happen, and you will, come out on top. So, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you enjoyed my little rant about lifting and why you should do it. And I hope that this video motivates you or just causes you to start your lifting journey. Anyway, have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next video.